Thank you, Count Corda. It is so important during this debate to remember the gravity of it. We're talking about the worst human rights violations imaginable. Missing children, enforced disappearance, illegal adoptions, incarceration, and so much more horrific, systematic institutional abuse. It is so important to remember that this commission was formed in light of the discovery of 800 babies and young children found entombed in unmarked graves and a disused septic tank. This is one of 10 Irish institutions run by religious orders to which about 35,000 pregnant women were sent. What happened, what was allowed to happen, was disgraceful. It's actually hard to imagine something even more disgraceful than that, but here it is. Instead of talking about what immediate action we can take to provide justice to those affected, we're talking about letting these documents be sealed for 30 years, denying survivors access to their own information. This is against the wishes of survivors, researchers, and human rights lawyers, and is contrary to recommendations of previous reports on institutional abuse, torture, rape, and forced adoptions. This legislation is also simply incompatible with EU law concerning access to personal information. Can you even imagine any other scenario whereby crucial information about crimes of this magnitude, when no one has been held to account, would be sealed away for 30 years? Can you imagine it? Justice delayed is justice denied. Many affected have already passed away without justice. If those records are locked away for 30 years, many survivors will be denied any opportunity to seek the resolution they deserve. The state continues to treat this as a scandal to be contained rather than an opportunity to do what's right, provide dignity and healing for survivors and their families. Minister, if what you're saying is true and you have no intention of keeping these files sealed, then why on earth don't you just legislate for that now? The bare minimum the state can do after all of its failings in relation to institutional abuse is to at least consider what impact legislation like this will have on survivors. We already know that the sealing of archives by previous governments, the gagging order, and the hostile treatment of survivors by the state authorities on the whole has compounded the trauma for so many, and now it's happening again. That people deserve more is an understatement. They deserve access to their own information, compensation, justice in every way imaginable. And not only do they deserve it, it is their right. At the very least, Minister, they deserve respect. To ignore survivors' pleas, regardless of anything else, to ignore their pleas to change this legislation and to unnecessarily push it through these houses without pre-legislative scrutiny disrespects survivors and is quite frankly disgusting. I believe you became a minister to try and do good. I believe you know this bill goes against that intention, and I believe you that it is complicated and technical. But you are morally obliged to do everything possible to just listen to the survivors. We will all support you in this. We do not want this to be a partisan issue, but please make the necessary changes, accept the well-researched and survivor-centred amendments to make this a law that we can all get behind. At this point, if the legislation is pushed through in its current form, the only question worth asking is whose interests are you protecting? Because it isn't the interest of survivors. We have a history of staying silent and silencing people on these issues. When we do that, we hurt the thousands of people who have suffered, and we live alongside these people every day. I'm pleading with you, Minister, to prevent further injustice for people seeking basic dignity and access to their stories. There is no closure without justice, and there can be no justice if the state continues to protect everybody's interests except those of survivors.
Thank you very much, Deputy Kearns. Now we move